Dre Team, it's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with Germany. 10 culture shocks tourists have when they visit Germany. Before we jump into this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. What do we got?
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World. We're in Bamberg, Germany, on their nice little waterway here, their little Venice, as they like to call it. And nice. Bamberg is one of my favorite cities in Germany. We love it here. The town hall is fantastic, and you'll be shocked how beautiful it is. And that's why we're here today to give you the 10 things that will shock you about visiting Germany. And the first thing that's going to shock you is when you get to Germany, anything to do with a toilet is going to shock you. One, you're going to have to pay to use the toilet. If you're in the train station, it's going to be €1 to go pee or other business. If you're at a store, you might see an old lady sitting there waiting for you. You know, the toilet women, you see them like, why is there this old lady sitting at the toilet? And she has a thing on, oh, I got to pay for it. So you got to pay for the toilets, and then there's the toilet women that kind of make you go, what's going on? And they give you this look that you know, I got to give them money now because otherwise they're not going to let me pee or poop ever. Okay, so that's kind of weird. Another thing that might
technically you do not have to pay the toilet ladies, but they are the ones that keep the toilets clean.
Might shock you is if you get into some of the German toilets, they have kind of what we call a shelf toilet. Like you poop onto a shelf. And it's so you can observe your poop and make sure everything's okay, I guess. And the thing is, the shelf is there, so it gets a little stinky. But also, when you flush it, it's like a waterfall going down. And if you don't know about it and you push the flush button while you're sitting there, you get a nice little spring of shocky waterness in all your nether regions, okay? So the first thing that will shock you about Germany is anything to do with the toilets. Now, the second...
So did they keep the toilets clean, but I'm assuming they get paid a fair wage for what they do, so... Are you like expected to, if you technically don't have to pay them, are you expected to leave something? Even like if they get paid a fair wage, or I'm not sure how that works. I've never paid to use the restroom. And then the shelf toilets. I saw it in another video. I don't know how I feel about them shelf toilets. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Second thing that might shock you when you come to Germany is when we think of Germany, we think of organization, clean, everyone follows the rules and these kind of things. But when you come into a train into Germany, you come to the train station, you walk outside and you see these Aussies, these, as they call asocials, Aussies, or Penna, or, you know, these people that are, you know, kind of scary. They look like they're drug dealers or drug addicts with their dogs, and they're loud and they're kind of dirty and they're scary. And that's kind of a shock for tourists when they come, as there are all these beggars and there are all these people outside the train station, whether you're in Hanover or Frankfurt is horrible for it. Just realize they're not going to do anything to you. They're not there to bother you. They're getting taken care of by the government. They'll leave you alone. You just leave them alone, okay? But it can be a shock for that first time you come and you walk out of the Hanover train station and there's all these people out there that are like, look like beggars or drug addicts, and they got their big dogs, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Yeah. You'll be fine. Don't worry. But we'll shock you, so be ready for it. The third thing that might shock you...
Yeah, I wouldn't be too scared of the people. But if they got big dogs, hold up now. Get them dogs away from me.
When you come here, is a lot of people, when they think of Germany, they think, oh, I'm going to see half-timbered houses everywhere. I'm going to see people in lederhosen. There's going to be beer halls everywhere. Everybody's drinking big beers and liter beer things. Well, you know, we look here. We're here in Bamberg, and yes, we do have the half-timbered houses and the beautiful architecture. And they do have great beer here, but... that's not typical Germany. Germany is a modern country. It's a multicultural country. You have Greeks, you have Turkish people, you have people from all over Europe and Poland living here, and you're not just going to see people in lederhosen and, you know, what you imagine Germany to be from your grandpa's pictures in the war. Germany is a very multicultural land, and you're not going to see the half-timbered houses, the girls with the big hands and the big beers. You're not going to see that all over the place, all right? So just be prepared for that. A lot of people are shocked that they're in Berlin, and they're like, well, where's all the liter beers and beer halls? Oh, guys, that's in Bavaria. And the reason why you ever wondered why the Americans have a certain view of Germany as Bavaria is because after the Second World War, the U.S. was in control of the South, so our traditional ideas of Bavaria, of Germany, are Bavaria, with the beer halls and the drinking and the liter beers and stuff like that. And that's what that is not what Germany is these days. And that can shock a lot of people because, they expect something different. Now, the fourth thing that might shock
Yeah, I would love to visit Germany and just kind of see all these different things and witness them for myself. I think that would be awesome. And get to kind of learn about the culture, get to know some people. That would be dope. But yeah, they do got to have timber houses, which are dope. They do got the beer hall, but he said Germany is so much more than that. Germany is a very modern place as well. I like it.
when you come here, and it's a lot of Americans like to make Nazi jokes, okay? Like, oh, the Nazis, haha, you're a German, you're a Nazi. You may be shocked to hear this, but you know what? Germans do not appreciate that. They're ashamed of their time during the National Socialists, the Nazis' time, and they're very embarrassed by it. They hate that it happened, all these things, and they don't find it funny. I know when I see Americans coming here, they make Nazi jokes about people, or when Germans go to the U.S., they say, oh, he's a German, he's a Nazi. Yeah, I know in the U.S. we mean it as a joke, but here in Germany, it's not taken as a joke. It's a very serious thing. The swastika and those flags are actually illegal here. You can't actually have those. Mein Kampf is not allowed to have here either. So you may think it's funny, but the Germans don't find it funny at all. So don't make any Nazi jokes when you're here because it's not cool, okay? So that might shock you because you're used to doing that in the U.S. Not cool here. The fifth thing you might get shocked.
That's crazy that I guess, yeah, people make jokes out of a lot of tragic events in the history. In the world history, but yeah, I can understand why they would be offended by that and they wouldn't enjoy that because, right, that's not a time they were proud of, and they definitely don't want to repeat that, or they don't want that to happen again. But they do learn it. They do learn about the history, and that's just the history, right? A part of history that they're probably not the most proud of. So it's understandable.
About when you come here is German service. Now the Germans are great people. Like once you become friends with them, they're awesome, but it's tough to get to know them. And in the service industry, they're very professional, but you won't think they're very nice, or they're like, you don't realize you have to actually ask every single question. Typical example, I was in Hanover a couple years ago. I asked to say, hey, do you have an English menu? And the waitress said, yes, we have an English menu. Then she goes away, comes back 10 minutes later and says, what would you like to eat? And I'm like, well, I need an English menu. Oh, you want one? Yes, I want an English menu. Oh, then she went and got it. It was very much you got to follow the rules and go.
It's no disrespect. No disrespect. But if I ask if you have an English menu, the only reason that I am asking is because I need an English menu. Why else would I care if you had an English menu? Why would I personally care if you had an English menu if I didn't need an English menu?
By the step by step, which for some people, if you don't know how the German system works, you may think it's rude, but actually it's quite professional, and they will be very helpful if you ask, but you have to ask. And in terms of the people, I look at it this way. Think of it as two circles, okay? In the U.S., you have your acquaintances and then your friends in the two circles. In the U.S., it's very easy to become an acquaintance and then kind of be a friend, but it's hard to get into be the really good friend. Yeah. And so it's kind of like a dotted line on the outside. And the friendship is the hard line. In the U.S., well, sorry.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the U.S., it's the dotted line on the outside, so easy to become an acquaintance, but really hard to become a good friend. In Germany, it's hard to become an acquaintance. That's a lot harder. But once you get to know them, then it is easy to become friends with them, and they'll show you around, tell you all kinds of things, meets their Oma and all these kind of great things. But just know, in terms of service, you're going to be like, man, what a bunch of jerks sometimes. But they're not jerk people. Just think of professional and make sure when they come to order your food, you order your drink and meal right away because they ain't coming back, okay? So service might shock you a little bit when you come to Germany, but just be ready for it, okay? And that's why you kind of tie 5 and 6 together, because 6 are the actual people when you are here. We have these kind of theories and stereotypes of Germans that they're cheap and that they're unfriendly and they're cold, but honestly, they're not. They're actually very good people, but the thing is, you got to get to know them, like I talk about the circle of friendship kind of stuff. Yes, service, not the best, but it is professional. Just make sure you ask everything. The people may seem cold, but once you get to know them, they're fantastic and super helpful. And if you're here in Bavaria, like in Bamberg or Munich, the people are the most friendly of anywhere in Germany, but there's friendly Germans everywhere, and that might shock you because they're not the cold-hearted people you expect. They're actually very wonderful, and that can be very shocking for people that grew up thinking that Germans are these crazy, cold-hearted people. And they're not. Now, the 7th thing that might shock you when it comes to Germany is your hotel bed, because there's a crack in the middle of it. I kind of see why there's not a lot of German children, because with a crack in the bed, if you're doing things, the beds come apart. I mean, we've stayed here with our kids, and I've stayed with my parents, and we've lost children in that crack because the beds kind of separate, and boom. Caleb is falling through the middle. One time we were in Frankfurt, and my mom and dad and I were sleeping in one bed together. Well, it was a crack in the middle, and all of a sudden, Dad's gone. Like, what the hell just happened? Look, when you go you get your double rooms, a lot of times it's 2 single beds pushed together, and there will be a crack in the middle, and that can be a lot of surprising for people, especially if you're coming here for your honeymoon. So just a word of warning: be careful with the beds, because that crack. I mean, you're going to lose people, children, money, your father. I mean, these are things that happen to us. So just be ready for that shock of there's a crack in the bed. Okay, so just be ready. The 8th thing that
I'm definitely not used to that. I'm definitely not used to no to a crack in the bed. Know what I'm saying? It sounds like definitely don't try to put 3 people in there because of the crack. 2 people each person get thrown a little single, and I guess you just stay on your side. No cuddling, none of that. Just stick to your side. I stick to my side, and we'll have a good night.
might actually shock a tourist when you come here is Germany. You go around, you see these high-speed trains, you see all this fancy electronics and cooler phones and anything we have in the U.S. And then you go, oh, you want to pay with a credit card? Oh, no, we prefer cash. Bargeld bitte, bar bitte. Cash is king here in Germany, and you need to be ready for it. So if you want to use remember the toilet lady in the beginning, you got to have your coins for her. Okay, she doesn't take credit card. And here, credit cards being more accepted in Germany, but still they prefer cash, so be ready for it. And if you do have a credit card, make sure you have a PIN number for it as well, because you might need to put that in. The Germans, you'll see they'll use their cards, but they have what's called an EC card. Okay, it's for their banks here. It's got a little chip in it, and so they use those. Okay, but most of the time, cash is king. I lived in Germany for 3 years. It was not uncommon to go to Saturn, like a Best Buy kind of store, and see people buy a $3,000 computer with cash. Okay, so be ready for that. Okay, so make sure you have cash with you, because cash is more or less king here in Germany. The 9th thing that may shock you about it, or may not shock you about coming to Germany, is how much they love pork. Whether it's you're here in Franken or northern Bavaria, and they have pork shoulder, which is fantastic, or ham hocks, or maybe Schweinhaxe. Oh my God, I love Haxe. Or all the sausages that are here. Whether you're having currywurst in Berlin, or Weisswurst here in Bavaria, or Nuremberger Bratwurst in Nuremberg. I mean, they love their sausage here, and it's all the time. So yes, you really will. If you go to the German restaurants, you'll have your sausages and your porks and your sauerkraut and your dumplings, and they will go all out. But remember, this is a multicultural land, so Germans don't actually eat German food as often as you'd think. That's why when you go to German restaurants, sometimes you see more tourists than you do see locals. But they still love their pork here. So just be ready for pork, and some more pork, and then have some sauerkraut to help things move along, let's say, okay? But I prefer the rotkohl, which is like red cabbage, because it's sweeter, and that's how I keep this fantastic figure with all that extra sugar and sweetness. And the 10th thing that might...
Hey, I'll take some sausage. You know what I'm saying? I'll take some sausage. I'll take some pork. I keep it coming. The sauerkraut, y'all can keep that. Any veggies or any side, you get the meat. All the meat. You know what I'm saying? I'll try it all. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. I'm very carnivorous. I'm a very carnivorous person.
Shock you about Germany is actually when you see German tourists abroad. There's this stereotypical German tourist, okay? Jack Wolfskin coat, or they have this like vest. It's like a khaki vest with lots of pockets, and of course the matching accessories. Now this is mostly just guys, don't worry, the women are fine, but the guys, the matching accessories are sandals with socks. Not white socks, but like black socks or blue socks to go with those sandals. It is beautiful. And you go around, you're like, oh my God, that you got to be kidding me. But you walk around, you'll see it here. But you have this typical German tourist of the vest and the socks with the sandals, and maybe their backpack. It seemed like they had in kindergarten. It's pretty funny when you see it going around. You don't see it as much as you used to, but you still see it sometimes. And when you do, you're like, oh, socks and sandals. That's an interesting, shocking choice. Anyway, so those are just 10 fun things that might shock you if you do come to Germany. It is well worth it. We love it here, as you know, from our literally hundreds of videos in this country. And if you want to learn more, 5 things you're loving about here in Bamberg, 5 things you love and hate about Germany, what you should eat when you're in Bavaria, or in general Germany, or what sausages you should try when you're here, check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and we really love your subscriptions and your likes and your views and your comments. So if you have things that shocked you about coming to Germany, put it in the comment section below. We'd really appreciate it. And we hope you have a great time here in Germany and Bamberg. It is super beautiful here. I'm not going to lie to you. This is my favorite city in Germany. So I'll leave you with a nice little view down the river. Have a great time. And please feel free to click that subscribe button right down there. All right. Bye from Bamberg.
I would love to be able to go to Germany, man, to visit Germany. I think that would just be absolutely incredible, absolutely fun. But that's all we got for this one. You guys got a favorite video suggestion? You can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. It's your boy D. Neal. Out.